Welcome to the Nancy Be Inspired Show. I am Nancy DeLeonardi and I am your host. And I'm super excited that you are here today. I have a really great podcast for you today. And if you don't know me or you're new to my show, I just want to share that my intention for the show and the content that I put out into the world is to help you live your best life with things that I've done in my life that when I started to do them, I saw a shift happen in my life. And these tactics, if you will, actually transformed my life. And I thought, you know what, this isn't just for me to keep to myself. And I'm going to put content out into the world via my podcast. I have a blog, www.nancybeinspired.com. I have a Pinterest. And, I just want to put it out there for you so that it will help you. So if my content does help you, please share. So that way we can help more people together. And isn't that what it's all about? I am super excited about this topic today. So this podcast is all about it's never too late and you're never too old. You want to hear more? Let's go. Welcome to this episode of my podcast show. I have a really great podcast for you today, and it's called It's Never Too Late and You're Never Too Old. So this will hit a broad spectrum of people, depending on where you are, whether you think, oh, it's just too late, it's already been done, I can't do it, or I'm too old, I missed the boat. If you fall into either one of these categories, stay tuned. Listen in because this podcast is for you. So are you ready to talk about this more? I just want to start off by saying and emphasizing the fact that truly age is really just a number. It's a chronological order of time that you've been on the planet, period. It doesn't define you other than that. Your life and the quality of your life is all your mindset. Truly and fundamentally. It's what you believe that you can achieve in your life, regardless of any circumstance that you are in. And if you wanted to do research, you will find many, many stories of people that were, on hard times or had zero chance, according to society's standards, of having any luck, success, whatever you want to call it, in their lives. But they actually defied it. And they were able to overcome the stereotypes and pursue the life that they dreamt for themselves. So I want to start with saying you're never too young either. Like if you're young and you have an idea of a business that you want to start, I really do believe that that is the trend for our future generation. I think that the young people coming up now are, raised with social media and technology. They're almost born with a phone in their hand. I'm sure they go to school first grade and they have a phone, or pretty close in elementary school. They don't leave elementary school without a phone. And I guess for numerous reasons, right? Their parents can contact them or whatever the case may be. But my point is, you can start at any age to start fulfilling your dream, because some of us have had a dream with us our entire lives. Even when we were kids, we dreamt of something, and maybe our parents at the time said, well, that's really not a career, or there's no money in that. You hear that story a lot with musicians, right? They just love music and they wanted to play an instrument or maybe just sing. And their parents kind of deterred them from that and put them in a church environment maybe, or a chorus at school, thinking that that would, fulfill that little, need for that child. But really, I look at it as it's the seed that God planted in your heart when you were born. And this is the seed that he wanted you to fulfill with your life. And that's why it never left you. And when you get older, you kind of realize, well, I still have that desire to sing or to be the artist or whatever. It's because it's the seed that was planted in you and you didn't fulfill it. So please know that if you've had something in your life that you still have not achieved, it's not too late and you're not too old, because you're unique. You're a unique individual. You have your fingerprint to prove it. And so therefore, if something's already been done, it's not been done by you. It's not been done by your thought and creation of that thing, whatever it is. It's your take on it. It's your spin on it. And that's what makes it different. And you have to really move forward with life with pursuing things just to fill your soul's calling, really, to fulfill that thing that makes you feel good, the thing that brings you joy, and not really, do it because you think there's money in it. Like, really, money shouldn't drive you to do anything. It should be the pursuit of fulfillment, really. It's not even the pursuit of happiness. It's the pursuit of fulfillment, that you feel fulfilled because you're doing this thing you've always wanted to do. And when you do that and you continue to do it and you continue to hone your skills in it, then eventually it could turn into a job, a business, an item, a product that people want to buy, and then the money will come. But the money should never be fundamentally your intention for doing anything. It should be to fulfill something that actually makes you feel happy. And there are so many stories of people that have started businesses and careers, in their life. I have a story for you that for myself, I became a Zumba fitness instructor as an empty nester. Yeah. So my children were grown. They went off to college. And I was like, what am I going to do with myself? Like, what am I going to do? And I think a lot of empty nesters think that. Like, I've been raising a family, and now I don't really have an identity. You may have a job and you may have friends, but you feel like, you need to be needed, right? You want to feel like you have, a reason to, help people. And so for me, as I mentioned in my other podcasts, that I was a Zumba participant for over 9.5 years before I ever became an instructor. And at the time I thought, well, I'm going to become an instructor because I've spent my entire life, which is true, my entire adult life, I've always had a gym membership. And I got to the point where, I always went to the gym because I loved going to the gym and I loved Zumba. But I thought, I'm going to go get my Zumba fitness instructor license so that, I can check this off my bucket list that in my lifetime, yes, I've spent my life in the gym, but I had nothing to show for it. Like, I didn't have any kind of certificate or any kind of proof that I had spent my life in the gym and that I learned something by being a member of a gym for many decades. So that was why I became a Zumba instructor initially. I went and I took the class because I thought, I'm going to do this. I'm going to just become a Zumba instructor and say that I did achieve something that was gym related. But after the training, I left that day thinking, so I went into class. I'll back this up a second. I went into that training session thinking what I just said. I'm just doing this check off a bucket list. I have no intention of teaching. I'm just going to find out what this is all about as an instructor. I mean, I've been going for 9.5 years, so how can it be any different, right? But I'm going to check off the box so that I say in the future that, yeah, I did, get my Zumba license, right? But at the end of that training, I left transformed. I left thinking, now that I know what I know, how can I not teach this? I must teach this, and I must go out into the community and help people. And I walked away with so much information and so much gratitude for Beto Perez and his, desire to put this format out into the world that I started practicing, honing my skills in teaching. I took every opportunity that I could to teach, and that's how that started for me. So I was an empty nester. There were thousands of Zumba instructors in the world at the time. So there was room for me. I was able to go out there, and to this day, I still have a Zumba career. So don't let your age deter you, or that you think there's too many people and it's already been done and there's no room for you, because It's just not true. Also, if you want to start a fitness journey, you're not too old and it's not too late, because every day that you take a step towards your health and you take a new step in a new direction for better health, then that's the step towards improvement, and your body will react to that. Your body will change. And there are people, in their 60s, 70s, who started a fitness program later in life and became, fitness, competitors, right? So, I think of two at the top of my head. There's one woman, and I don't know their name because I'm not on Instagram anymore. And I'll do a podcast about that. I detoxed from Instagram for my well-being. But there were two women that I followed on there, and they were really, really successful. And they were one was a bodybuilder. She actually won a competition this year in 2024. And she is in her 60s, and she is in Australia, I believe. And then there's another woman, and she is in, I believe, Mexico. She is in her 70s, and she began a fitness program, I think, in her 60s. And, her daughter and son-in-law are both bodybuilders, and she transformed her life following, a routine that she was the typical, middle-aged person who really didn't take care of themselves. And she didn't do any physical activity. And she transformed her life and started this phenomenal business. She has an incredible business that she started in her 70s. And think about how many fitness people are out there. So it wasn't too late for her to transform her body, and it wasn't too late for her to start a business. And her intention, first of all, was, I'm sure, for her own well-being and her better health. Maybe she just didn't feel good where she was. She transformed her life and then thought, well, how can I keep this to myself? Let me help other people. And I could go on and give you different stories, but I'm just sharing that so that if you're younger, in your 20s or 30s, and you think it's too late, or that you don't even want to start, a career or a business thinking, well, it's already been done. It has not. It has not been done. And I encourage you to continue to pursue it, because if you don't pursue it, somebody else will. They're going to keep going out there and creating, products and content that, could be similar to yours. And you want yours out there as well. And you want people to have your content as a choice. Myself with this podcast, right? I'm starting this podcast in 2024 when podcasts have been out for, over a decade, maybe a decade and a half by now. So people can say, oh, well, in the beginning, those people, there were a few podcasts to listen to, and they had the audience, right? They had the captivated audience. And now there's hundreds of thousands of podcasts out there. Who is going to listen to mine? Well, whoever will need to hear it, whoever is interested in it. It's not going to stop me from putting content out there, because if it serves one person, if my podcast helped one person, I'm happy. Because that's all I need to do is just get my content out there for one person. And if it helps transform their life or helps them take a next step in their life that maybe they were questioning, then that's all that I want to do. That's my intention. So, it's never too late. You want to take practical steps too. So when you have an idea and you want to start something, I say, instead of later, I'll do it later tomorrow, you want to change that word, that narrative from tomorrow to today. Today I'm going to take action. Today I'm going to, record a broadcast, a podcast. Today, I'm going to write a page of my book. Today, I'm going to outline my dream business. Today, I'm going to take photographs that I want to put on social media. Today, I'm going to start learning how to play the piano, and I'm going to Google that or YouTube it. Today, I'm going to do it. Today. Not, well, when my kids grow up, when the timing is right, when I have the money, when, the next full moon happens. We can always make an excuse. You want to switch, when is a better word, when the timing is right, to today I'm going to. And if you stick with that, Today I'm going to pick up the paintbrush and paint. Today I'm going to sign up for that class to learn about X. That's what you want to do. And every day it's just baby steps. You don't want overnight success in anything. You really are doing this as a fulfillment of your soul's calling. So just remember that. You also want to be involved in a community of like-minded people, a community of people that, if you want to pursue, becoming an artist and you're really intrigued by art, maybe join an art museum and go visit the art, exhibits. And then, sometimes they have social events. Sometimes they have, a dining room where you could eat or grab a drink. They have different events there. Go, because then you'll run into people that are like-minded. They like art too. And then that you might learn something. Oh, have you heard about this, happening over there? And they need people to do whatever. And it might align perfectly with what you want to do. And if nothing else, you just make new friends. You broaden your circle with more people that are like-minded. So, you want to always, have a positive mindset, and you want motivation. You want to stay motivated with the things that you want to do, and you have to stay positive about it. We can default in, oh, it's not working out, or, say you're an artist and you don't like the way that drawing turned out. Oh, well, you're practicing, because there are no mistakes. It's just all learning. You're just learning and you're getting better, and you just keep practicing. And practice makes perfect. I know that they tried to change that terminology to make it different, but it is true. Practice makes perfect. And I know this for sure because I have spent thousands of hours behind the scenes practicing my Zumba over and over and over and over again until I nailed it. So practice does make perfect. Practice, you understand the music, you understand the notes, you know the timing. It comes with practice, not winging anything. It comes with practice. Practice makes perfect, and don't let anybody ever tell you that that's not a true statement, because it is. And that's just my my POV, but I've lived it. And that's another thing, when I say age is just a number, for people that are older, I will say to you that the beauty of getting older is you're so wise that you've seen so much in your life that nothing really surprises you anymore, and you really don't care about what other people's opinions are, because you know that their opinion will change the older that they get once they experience life more. When you're older, you have so much that you can bring to the younger generations. There's so much wisdom that you can impart on them by not really, just by putting out your content, and your perspective will help them in ways that you can't even imagine, because perhaps they don't have someone older in their life that they could talk to and ask questions. So there you are in cyber world, and they came across your podcast or they came across your blog, and they're like, oh, this resonated with me. I never knew that. I never knew that perspective. I never knew whatever. And you've helped that person. And that's really what it's all about. Your artwork, I'm going to go back to that. If you drew something that you've never drawn before, and you put it out there and say, someone wants to buy it and they want to start making, greeting cards out of it, you can share your story with someone and say, yeah, when I was your age, I always wanted to be an artist, but I just thought there was no money in it. And now, fast forward several decades, and I decided to give it a go. And now look, I have this greeting card company that wants to buy my artwork and make greeting cards out of it. Like, you just don't know, but you're sharing, you're imparting that wisdom of life onto that younger person so that they get a jump start, right? They get a jump start, and I just wish younger people would really, and I don't mean to generalize here, but I know that the society really wants to get rid of older people in life, and there's so much wisdom. To me, if I could hang around 100-year-old people, I would, because they are the living encyclopedias, and they can tell you so much, and they are so wise, and their journey really, if you listen to what they've said and then you take back, your takeaways are things that matter to you, you can really fast forward your life in a better way instead of going through those obstacles that they already went through, and they gave you the shortcut to it, right? They gave you the cheat sheet to just bypass this and don't do that. I'm telling you, just do this instead. you've really got a jump start on life, and they're really there to help you. What if they got to lose? An older person has nothing to lose. They've already had their careers. They've already raised their families. They've already done so many things. They've traveled. They've seen all walks of life. They've encountered all personalities. There's really nothing they have to lose by sharing information and wisdom with you. And you can take away what you want, and you can leave there what you don't want. But they have no skin in the game. They really don't care if you take action or not. They're like, if you ask me, I'm going to tell you, and you do what you want. Because some people, they just have to live their life their way. Some people are very stubborn. Oh, you don't know, you're old. You're just talking like an old person. But really, you're like, okay, well, you go do it yourself, and then you come back and talk to me later and let me know how that went, because we already know. Like, yeah, okay. So not to say that like with any kind of arrogance, please don't misunderstand me here. It's just, some people, you have students who are eager to learn and open to it, and some people that just don't. That's their personality. And an older person knows that, because you're not the first person that they've ever come across that isn't gonna do it their way. You're not the first person. They've been around the planet a while. So that's my point there. But, you just want to just really be positive, pursue, whatever your heart is on your heart, get into a community of like-minded people. Don't be embarrassed by something that you want to do. Really, no one's opinion matters but your own. No one's opinion matters. Please remember that. I'm going to repeat that again. No one's opinion matters when it comes to you fulfilling your calling. It doesn't matter. It's not too late, and you're not too old. And it doesn't matter if it's already been done, as I said earlier, because you have your spin on it. And so stick with it and pursue it, and then, see what happens. If it brings you joy at the end of the day, that's what you want. You want to bring yourself joy. And then if that joy resonates with other people, and you can share the joy outside of yourself, and then you help other people live more joyous and a joyful life, then that really, you can't put a price tag on. You really can't, because helping other people is what we're here to do. All of the obstacles that we've encountered in our lives really are to teach us how to overcome them, and then share that with other people. I have many, many podcasts in my head that I want to put out here, because I call myself the person, if you gave me one word excuse me, see, it came out, to define who I am and who I've been my entire life, the one word is defy. I have defied everything the world said I should do, couldn't do, can be, couldn't be. I have defied all of those things. So I have gone through my life knowing that in the world, everything was stacked up against me. And according to the world, there is just no way that is going to happen. And it happened. It happened to me many, many times, that I know that what I'm sharing with you is real and it's true, as long as you are doing what you want to do authentically. You are coming from a good place, no malice, no harm towards anyone else. You are just fulfilling your calling, and you are taking actions towards it, being open-minded as to how you will receive it, and then it will work out for you. I guarantee it. I guarantee it, because I could write a book, and I'm going to write a book, and I will list everything in that book. So you will know. But people in my life that know me, I mean, they just are truly amazed at, how much of a manifester I am. So I'm sharing with you. And I want to give you some information here for you to look up for people who are older, who started really successful businesses. And so I'm going to hone back in on folks that might be older, that age is just a number, but this is also relative to younger people, because I do know that there are young teenage millionaires out there. There's a young woman, and I really don't know her name off the top of my head right now, but she is the queen of shorts on YouTube. She has like billions of views, and she mastered how to make really successful shorts. And how she did that was she followed Mr. Beast. And I don't know if you know of Mr. Beast, Beast, but he is like the number one guy out there who was super successful in making shorts. And she analyzed all of his shorts, and then she, started, producing her own. And she is a young woman, and she's extremely successful. So she wanted to learn how to do it, and she dedicated her time to it. And he was already out there, right? He's already out there with, number one guy out there making all these videos, but it didn't stop her. She was like, well, I don't care about him. I still want to learn, and I want to do this. And she did. And she's equally, she's pretty close to him. I don't know that anyone can touch him, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because she put her own spin on her shorts. So that's my point. You have your spin and just keep pursuing it. But there is someone that I follow, and I have followed her for a long, long time. She's no longer with us here on the planet, but she is with us in spirit. And her name is Louise Hay. And she started Hay House Books in her 60s. And, she's really a positive person, a person who influenced a lot of people positively. And she then since grew into a mega company before she passed. But even in her 80s, she was still doing, speaking engagements and podcast interviews. And she was a very active woman, maybe into her 90s. But she didn't start her career until she was in her 60s. She didn't start her book, Hay House Books, until she was in her 60s. Also, Colonel Sanders from KFC, he started his business at the age of 65. 65. He had many, many jobs, and then his recipe, he just started with the chicken, and there you go. We know KFC. I'm pretty sure everyone listening to this podcast, especially if you're in America, you know what Kentucky Fried Chicken is, KFC, right? And what about Vera Wang? Vera Wang was a figure skater and a journalist, and she entered the fashion industry in her 40s. And she went on to build this highly successful Vera Wang brand. And if you're someone who got married or was in the market ever for a wedding dress, that's what she started. She started with Vera Wang wedding dresses. So she started her career in her 40s, and she, took a left turn, if you will, from skating and journalist. Being a fashion designer has absolutely nothing to do with being a skater and a journalist, right? So it doesn't matter. You don't have to keep doing the same thing if this thing on your heart is something completely different. So there's also a guy named Ray Kroc. And so the McDonald brothers, they started McDonald's food chain. But Ray Kroc, he was the one who then took it worldwide and, made it the global giant that it is today. And he started, that process when he joined the company in his 50s. So again, another person in their 50s who started. And, Sam Walton from Walmart, right? He was 44 when he grew the largest retail corporation in the world. And, we could go on and on. There's just so many. There's Grandma Moses. I don't know if you know of her, Grandma Moses. And she started her painting career in her 70s after retiring from farming. And she became an acclaimed folk artist. And so she began painting. And, her artwork is displayed in museums all around the world to this day. So I hope that those people and those stories inspire you. This is a good one. I want to tell you about Martha Stewart. I think most people know who Martha Stewart is, good or bad, but we know who she is. And she started, her Martha Stewart Living. I think she started with a magazine, actually, and then she went on to have the television show and the cooking show and then her product lines. And we know all about Martha Stewart. Again, if you're an American, I'm sure worldwide people know about her too. But, she started her, all of her media ventures in her 50s, and she is now a household name. She does pretty much anything in your house. I think I had, at one point in my life, I had a Martha Stewart patio set in my backyard. So, she's very well renowned. And so look these people up and look at their stories, maybe put them in your phone, and you can refer back to them as inspiration when you feel like, oh, I don't know if this is for me. Remember their stories, remember their ages, remember what they've done, and look up people yourself, that people that are, maybe are successful in what you want to do. But look at them as inspiration of, and Steve Jobs actually said this. He goes, you never want to compete with anyone. You just want to figure out how you can do it differently. And then there's a market for it. And I just say that as a little tidbit to, go with your own personal take on something, right? So it's your take, but how is your take different than anyone else's? For me, personally, I pay attention to absolutely no one. I really don't, because for me, it's just overwhelming. I don't want to, I have an analytical mind, and I'm always trying to solve the problem and gather the data and assess and come up with the best process. And that can be really overwhelming when I'm looking at other casters or other bloggers, because I have my blog out there, or other people that do Pinterest or whatever it is. It becomes overwhelming for me, because instead of me looking at their work and appreciating it, if it is in the same realm that I'm in, then I start to analyze it and study it, and then I go down the rabbit hole, and I'm like, I just don't even do it. I just don't even do it. I just, have an idea of what I want to talk about. I talk about it, I put it out there, and if it hits someone that it resonates with them positively and they're inspired by it and they go take action themselves, then that's really all that I am looking to do. And my podcasts are not scripted. They're not edited. I'm talking to you as if you were here in front of me right now. I'm just talking into the mic. And that's what I'm doing, just to share what comes to my mind off the top of my head. And again, as I said earlier, it comes from living life. It comes from all of these different experiences that I really don't have to write it out or have an agenda, because I can talk about it fluidly because I've lived it and I've done things myself. So it's all authentic. And that's what I'm here to do, is just to share this information with you. I want you to always remember, age is just a number, and you're never too old, you're never too young, right? It's just, you just do what's on your heart. If something is on your heart, just take action upon it and keep pursuing it bit by bit. My mother used to say that Rome wasn't built in a day. My mother said that to me a lot growing up, and, being, from Italy, it resonated, right? But it was so true. She's like, look at all the monuments and Colosseums in Italy. It wasn't built in a day. Things take time to get to perfection. So always remember that it's never too late and you're never too old. Let this inspire you today.